Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian Karasevich. I'm the founder of Social Chefs. That's this channel that we're on right now. This is my co-host off to the right, Mr. Vincent Orlek.
Hey.
And, as I go through this every week, I like to, kind of remind everyone, what this show is about. So this is the Social Chatter episode presented by Christian Karasevich and Vincent Orlek from Social Chefs. Our goal is to bring you the latest and the best social media, news, tips, tools, and so forth. And what we try to do is, every week we have a show where we basically cover 3 topics, 3 tools that are hot in social media marketing for the week, or, tips and tools that we've come across that we think can really help you as a business owner. And we try to keep these to 30 minutes. Obviously, today we got started a little bit late, but we're going to, start going through a lot of these topics now. So I want to remind everyone, if there's anything during the show that you want to, ask us, feel free to put it over in the right in the chat window there. There's
if you're here live. Yeah, if you're here live.
Absolutely. And off to the left, there's a tweet option and a post option. So if you have something you want to share, you can do that as well. And if you type Q, /Q actually in the chat, it will make something a question. So it'll appear off to the left. So we don't have to sort through the stuff on the right. Pretty awesome. And, if there's anything you want to, tweet us, my Twitter handle is at CKROKS. So my name's Christian and it's at CKROKS. And then Vincent, yours is what?
It's my name. It's right there. It's at Vincent Orlek. It's right above my.
There you go. At Vincent
there.
Orlek.
Yep.
And we also have. Let me put this in there real quick for everybody. And then I also have my brand channel, which we do. So if there's anything you all want to ask us about, you can tweet us there as well. And also #social chatter. So sounds like a lot to keep up with, but, I like to give everybody that way you have all the information that all that you need. So with that, I want to, one, I want to welcome everybody. And 2, I want to thank you, Vincent, for, being patient with us today and getting this show on the road. So topic number 1 for today, I'm going to start off with this one. This is Instagram has, there's apparently some new changes to Instagram's search functionality. And that, this is something that, you may not notice it at first because, how many people are actually, you go to the search box very often on Instagram and you're, looking for things. This is a new Twitter-like search on Instagram. So it's, it's pretty neat. Basically, you can do a search on Instagram. You'll see who it is, the person's name. You'll also see an option that'll say, are you following this person? Are you following one another, and so forth. So that's pretty handy, I think, if I'm an Instagram user, to be able to, to see this information. I don't have to, click into somebody's profile and whatnot to go check this out. So it is nice to see this. Vincent, do you have this yet on your Instagram account?
Yes. Yeah. It shows up when I do a search. If you start typing a name, it brings up all the names that you may or may not be following. And so if I type in the name Mike, I have several that I'm following that it indicates follow me, but then it's mixed in with other ones that maybe are not following me and I'm not following either. So
yeah,
so it's not like in a chronological or even order of who follows who, because there's some that we both follow each other, and then there's a couple that neither of us follows each other, and then there's one that we both follow each other. And so it's not really set in an order.
Absolutely. So, overall, bottom line, topic number 1, not a whole lot to this. Pretty much, you've got a nice search. The benefit here is that it's going to save, help shave a little bit of time off of, you using Instagram as, as an individual or as a business. You're not going to have to, go click on somebody's profile and, check out that information. So really, nice time-saving tip for today.
It's an encouragement. It's an encouragement to follow other people.
Yeah.
And it's got, it does have several, as I scroll down, it's got more of verified people in there. Mm-hmm. So that's a point of it. I mean, they're just trying to encourage more following of each other,
Right.
And finding new people that fit whatever you're searching for.
And I have to say, with something like that, what's important to remember is, this is the same thing with Twitter. When you first started using those sites, a lot of people, they got into it where they would, some people just said, hey, I'll follow anybody. Other people said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to follow anyone back, but hey, I want people to follow me. So, I think this is something that, you want to pay attention to, because, it's all about building reciprocal relationships. It's not about, just doing everything just for yourself.
Right.
So that's really kind of the key takeaway with this point. So that's topic number one for today, guys. Not a whole lot to it, as I said. If anybody wants to, jump on, have questions on this, just put /Q in the message section over off to the right. By the way, Vincent, on that search, did you have to update your app? Did you, have to reload the app?
Not that I noticed. I mean, my apps generally auto update anyway. So if there was, I haven't checked if it was, but it's just there.
Right. Awesome. Very awesome. So we're going to move on to topic number 2. If there aren't any questions on topic number 1. And who do we have here? What's going on? Who's this? Let's give a shout out to Gaetano. Did I say that right?
Yeah, actually, I was looking at his profile. It looks like he's with iPullRank, which is pretty cool.
Very nice.
With Mike King. Mike King is there, right? Yeah, man. He's going to be. You're not in the Phoenix area, are you? Because he's going to be NYC. Okay, yeah, he's going to be here for the summit a couple weeks for the digital summit. I saw him there last year. And I know a buddy of mine that works with him a lot, and saw him do his rap at MozCon a while back.
Yeah,
if you're familiar with that.
Very, very cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, Mike King knows his stuff, man. So I'm sure you know what you're talking about too, Gaetano.
So with that, I'm gonna by the way, thanks a lot for joining us. So I'm gonna move on to topic number 2 today, and this actually, to me, this is a really important topic. I know it's probably a very dry topic to a lot of people, but basically, Google has filed a patent. They filed a patent for what is it exactly? Basically, as a way to replace social media marketers, and
which is clickbait.
Do what?
Clickbait. That title. Well, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, okay. But okay, so that's a link to the article. But hold on. But here's the thing: if you actually look through this, yeah. By the way, yes, we do get a lot of. I see a lot of clickbait from HubSpot all the time. But I do want to share this link. This is a link to the patent. So for those of you who haven't, it's pretty straightforward. And basically, they're trying to patent the idea of being able to have it where, if somebody gets an email or whatever with a link, there's so much spam and links these days. That you'll be able to, potentially click on that. I think their goal is to have it open a menu of some sort, and then to have it where they kind of either have some suggested links and also give you some other options, such as, what's popular on a specific social network and whatnot. Almost in a way they're trying to, direct you to where you need to be headed in order to, if you have somebody that gives you a link that, they, for instance, might think is a good link to be sharing. So, what do you have any thoughts on this one, Vincent?
I don't, from looking at it, I don't see what the article meant that was written about how it's going to replace social media marketers, because if it's focused on sharing. Right. So how does that, I guess, how would that, for curation purposes, maybe what the content, creating content, there's so much that goes into the position of a social media marketer that, a lot of people don't think about it or realize or care. I get it. Right. But as someone that does that, and you too, how many different jobs do you have? It's graphic artist, content curator, content creator. There's a list of things that goes into it. It's not just sharing a link and deciding if that's good stuff to share or I don't know. I didn't really, to be honest, I welcome other feedback because from what this was describing in the patent, like I wasn't really seeing what exactly it was going to do to replace anybody. And if it is, then I think it's funny that like Google of all people, they're just because G Plus didn't work out the way they wanted, so now they're focusing on this at this point, and everyone thinks they're going to buy Twitter and all this stuff, and now it's open to tweets being found through search. So they definitely have an agenda with social media. For sure. They still want to get in that game, and it makes sense because of all the SEO connections and the search engine connections that they would. But I don't know. I mean, what else? What are your thoughts on it?
I think so. Here's the thing. I think that it's going to tie into a larger picture. I think it's going to tie into Gmail, for instance. That's one way I could see this being used. Do I think that like they're going to replace people doing social media marketing? I think to a certain extent it could happen. I think that it would be, for example, like if I'm working for a large brand, large company, no, I don't see that happening because, they want to keep a lot of that close to the vest. But if I'm looking at somebody who is, like a consultant of sorts, yeah, I could see, some of them are, constantly like, well, hey, let me help this company with their social. And they don't really have like a relationship with that business per se. They're just doing work for them. That's where I could kind of see it getting replaced.
Which is fine. I mean, I think a lot of those types of businesses too, that they are not necessarily the ones. I mean, there's businesses that are just never going to hire someone to officially manage their social media because it doesn't make sense for them as far as affordability to pay someone to come in and do it. Yeah. So that's why they have a relative do it, or they learn about it and do it, or they purchase a tool that will accomplish some of those things. But obviously all those things are not, at least in my opinion, it's not truly using it to its capacity to benefit you necessarily, unless the person that's doing it for you is like really understands the communication aspect, the engagement aspect, how to reach people. So I could see this maybe in that case, like you're saying, I could see it maybe being of some help to smaller businesses to take advantage of some certain things. But then at a certain point, when does it not help? Does it get to a point where it's growing, it's too big and too many people are doing that, so it's not helping?
And here's the thing. I actually think that this could be a useful thing if, for example, if it was a tool that I had available, like if I could go into my email and instead of having to, open a link, because most of the time, like you don't really, you have people that send you links that have, false like text and whatnot to it. They don't tell you where it's going exactly. I mean, I could see it being very useful in that situation if I could just go to an email, click a link, and have it almost like pull that information back for me, without me having to actually go to the article, itself and say like, hey, I already saw this, or, this isn't exactly useful for me at the moment. If I could just, click a link, I think that would be very useful and tie it into bigger things. Like I think that, over time, there's so much content being published on a regular basis that, we can't keep up with it. One of the things, people going to RSS feeds, people moving to RSS feeds and consuming content that way versus going directly to somebody's website. Or, they're not getting on somebody's email list because the person sends, they're getting too many emails from everyone else. So, everybody's moving from different, from one system to another because I think that, we're obviously just very overwhelmed, and so that's where I could see this being very useful. Is there anybody else, by the way, that's watching, if you think that this, is a useful thing? Do you think, that, again, the topic is Google, as Glenn mentioned here, Google filing a patent to displace social media marketers, not necessarily replace, which I thought, that was an excellent point he brought up.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I think that was, like I said, the title, I mean, on the Marketing Land article is this person wrote this article saying that Google files a patent. I mean, Google didn't file a patent specifically with that idea in the title of it. It's this person wrote this article, and it's the newest patent suggests copy to ensure that links shared in social find wider distribution. So to limit that job, the job that a social media marketer actually does to sharing social media is kind of silly.
And here's the other thing, like you can't really, this is the thing, like when people start looking at like sentiment analysis and whatnot, there are a lot, there's a lot of tools out there that will say, hey, we do sentiment analysis. Awesome. But what you run into is, some of that work, great. It's somewhat manual. It's somewhat automatic, but there needs to be a manual aspect to it to be able to go through and do some of those things. And that's where, again, this is a patent. This may never see the light of day. It may be one of those things that gets folded into another tool or another service that they have. So again, like you said, somebody's speculating that this is potentially what they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
But I think the one question I would ask everyone that's watching, and same thing with you, Vincent. Do you think that do we need a tool like this that would actually help kind of take some of that guesswork out? Regardless of who owns it, do you think there needs?
I mean, until I see it in action,
yeah.
The patent, I'm probably not really getting the whole picture of it from just that patent and what they're saying about it, because until I see it working and what it actually does and what the results are, it's going to be tough to really evaluate it. But I agree with you where I think it's towards a bigger result. It's towards a bigger approach, picture, what have you. It's they're still in the social media or social game. They absolutely are not leaving it. They're backing away. That Google Plus didn't totally pan out the way that they wanted. They kind of gave up on it. They've divvied it up. But I don't know that they'll come out with a whole new platform. I'm not saying that. I think that they're still going to be involved in it because there's too much audience, there's too much activity, there's too much money and too much that's involved with Google and SEO that depends on those things that they offer. They're already tied into it. So they're just trying to find how they're going to best take advantage of it, the audiences and the activity that's out there, I think.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I think that, I think that it's going to play into like a longer term strategy with them, for other tools that they're using, potentially, like Google search, they're going to tie it into their Gmail product. They're basically trying to become, a one-stop like destination to where like they can offer some sort of, some additional, again, it's like, it's almost like the Amazon effect, offering another way for people to be able to, to get more out of the service or the tool that they're using. So, Amazon, for example, kind of explain that a little bit, I guess, with Amazon, if I go on Amazon and like right now, for instance, I'm a Prime member, I get shipping. They're also now trying to, beef up their music library. They're trying to beef up their videos. They're trying to offer me, Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals that are exclusive if I'm a Prime member, little things to keep me tied into their product, their platform. The same thing with, with Google. I mean, if I'm a Gmail user, they're trying to offer me, additional benefits to being able to, to make it easier to like work across, other Google products and so forth. So, again, I'm interested to see kind of where this is going to go, so I think it's a really good topic. But let me check out the comments here. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Great point, by the way, Glenn. The one constant of Google is concentration of visibility, power, and capital flowing to fewer at the top. They're basically trying to level the playing field.
So next up is what? The Facebook sports stadium?
We do, yes. And this is going to be, I think, probably this is probably the main topic for today because I think it's pretty big news. I'm gonna let you kick this one off. So what do we got going on here?
We have so now I'll preface this by saying I already did start trying to find it and I couldn't find it yet. But it's because so basically Facebook is going to provide what's called their Facebook Sports Stadium in the app. But here's why I was prefacing it with that. They're offering this Facebook Sports Stadium. It's going to happen while the games are happening. Okay. So initially when I read the article, I was like, oh, well, let me go get this because it says go find it in the app and look for that. So I looked and there was nothing. But what it is while a game is on, until they've said this, until they find a better way to surface the function better. Right now, it's going to tie into like has been going on all season in the NFL. When you go on Facebook, in your status update, generally says something about let your friends know you're watching this particular game if you want, or you can X out of it. Mm-hmm. So essentially, you're gonna let people know that you're watching this game. It's gonna allow you to see and interact with other people around this specific event or whichever game it happens to be. Mm-hmm. But it's limited to NFL right now. It's limited to iOS with Android coming very soon, and everything, even the desktop, I think they said will be available before the Super Bowl. So they're obviously wanting to try to take advantage of the Super Bowl, the biggest sporting event in our country, if not the world, mm-hmm. As far as viewership and attention and ratings and all that. So this week will be kind of like a practice for it with the two championship games for the AFC and the NFC with the iOS app. So this weekend, here's what you'll do. When the game is on, you'll open up Facebook on your phone. You'll either have to search for that game, so start typing in like Patriots versus Broncos, and then you'll see a result come up. And I don't know how it's going to look in that sense yet because just haven't seen it other than the screenshots. But from there, you'll be able to get live updates. You'll be able to see comments that your network and maybe even people that are not in your network are making about the game, and you'll be able to interact with people, whether that's a status update. Looks like you could probably send photos and videos in a status update too. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to check it out. And it was funny because at first, when I first saw this topic, it said, I saw some people talking about it earlier today too. They were calling it Facebook Stadium. And I'm like, wait a second. The Super Bowl is in Santa Clara this year, which is kind of, I don't know exactly where that is compared to Silicon Valley, but it's I don't think it's super far. Uh-huh. And the Super Bowl is there this year. So it totally makes sense for Facebook to try to capitalize. And I thought that Facebook Stadium, I thought they were going to tell us that the Niners were renaming their stadium to Facebook Stadium. That's what I thought it was at first when I saw the headline. And then obviously that's not what it is. But that I think all that stuff is down the road. That's coming. Like Facebook has enough money to name a stadium if they want, to build a stadium for a team and own a team. But that's a whole nother story.
So I actually tested this out yesterday. I was watching, apparently, I think it was the basketball game that was coming on. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers, and who were they playing? I don't remember who they were playing, but basically,
the Warriors game?
The Warriors, actually, it was a different game. But basically, I was on Facebook. It popped up when I was viewing the news feed.
How did it pop up?
So it actually had like a little button that showed up in the What's on Your Mind box. It was like a little orange button. I clicked on it, and then it actually, and then at that point it brought up the game. I didn't go any further than that because there was no one else.
Did it show the stats and everything?
It showed it showed the scores and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh man, dude, you're on the inside because even the release from Facebook, it says they're only doing it for football, for NFL right now.
It was weird. So, it was basketball. I mean, it was
huge. Yeah. So see, that's why everyone that's here and ends up watching the replay, you have to listen to Christian because he's obviously on the inside. He's on the beta of everything, especially Facebook, because he knows Facebook inside and out.
So I had that part now, but so here's the thing: if I look at the bigger picture of this, and I actually wrote about this earlier this week on, I think it was my Facebook page, but I see this being a much bigger play for Facebook in general. I think this is going to be a fabulous feature for events. If I am, like, for example, the first thing is, I think is going to take a big chunk out of Twitter, because if somebody's watching a game, a lot of people are tweeting about this information, right? So
around a hashtag a lot of times,
absolutely.
around the different hashtags. Yeah.
And I'm actually sort of glad that Facebook would actually have something like this on there, because I think that it's needed, because if I go to Facebook and everybody's posting about this stuff at one time, if some people are using the hashtag, like this is a way to like pull out, a little subsection and to be able to have that conversation in real time without blowing up somebody's newsfeed,
Well, people are having they're talking about the games. I mean, we have friends that we do fantasy football together, right? We're in a league together, and you have friends that watch football and are ardent fans of teams. I'm the same way, and I post about my team on Facebook, and I see their posts on Sundays during the games, and people absolutely use Facebook for that purpose. They're not limiting it to Twitter by any means,
right?
But on Facebook, they're just posting, or you will see someone maybe throw a hashtag in there, either something that's being used on Twitter at the moment, or like a funny thing that they're just making a joke using that hashtag.
Yeah.
What do you think about? I totally agree with you. This is just the start. Don't you see this with coming down the road advertising? I mean, this is definitely going to be a revenue play for Facebook next season.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. This is what I see with this. I think that it's going to be very useful for not just for events. Okay. So let's talk about sports real quick. You have this for, in this case, the NFL. Awesome. I could see this being, for instance, very useful for, we've got the Australian Open going on right now.
Yeah.
Tennis match. That would be, I could see it being used for like other events that are going on for that. I could also see it being very useful for, if I get into we've got the Academy Awards coming up,
political debates.
Yeah, right.
All the big debates that are coming in 2016 because of the primaries, and we'll have candidates in the big presidential debates, all of that. I mean, but don't you agree? It's leading all to advertising, because then they'll be able to offer companies the ability to send ads to people that are participating in those types of discussions around that event. Like as an advertiser, say McDonald's, I'll be able to run ads to people in that specific conversation that are indicated.
That's a very good point. I didn't actually take it that far. The only way I was taking it actually was to expand it to other sport, other like big events, like
any event. Yeah.
But I also could see it being very useful for a business on a Facebook page. Let's use you as an example. Like you're in a business, you have events with the company you work for. I have events in the company I work for as well. And
we just had one yesterday. We had a grand opening of our building.
Absolutely. And so here's the thing. This is where I could see this being so useful for pages. If I'm a business, I would love to be able to tap into this functionality to be able to create, to basically curate people talking about my event at one time. Like they're not going to have like scores or whatever, but let's say you're putting on a convention or something like that, and you've got like certain speakers that are going through. I would love to see somebody being able to say, hey, welcome, so-and-so, hey, we're getting ready to start in 5 minutes or something like that. Or here's, we're bringing on, here's our opening keynote, or this is the next session or something like that, to be able to, almost to live stream an event within Facebook, to kind of keep people updated on that information. I guess that is probably a little more technical when you really look at it. But I think this could be a very, very useful tool. Once it actually has the time to evolve into to being more than what it is. Right now on the surface, it's just for sports. But I think there's a lot at stake here. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited. I'm really excited about it, actually. So
yeah, man. I can, like I said, I can see it being used for those purposes, and it could be. Literally, it could be for anything. Like you said, it could be for the small. Maybe you're not a humongous event or a humongous business. It's something small that you want to target. So essentially, what it is, it's allowing people on Facebook to market around an event like you would on Twitter,
right?
Around a hashtag that you could sponsor a hashtag,
and I
advertise on a hashtag.
And I completely agree with you, by the way, on the fact that I think that, this definitely should be something like tied into ads at some point. I mean, it'd be a no.
It will be. I have to. That was the first thing I thought of, because they're always, of course, trying to monetize more and add more revenue streams. And this is like, I mean, if you're a sponsor of the Super Bowl, are you then not going to want to have access to the audience on Facebook that is, specifically is watching the event? Or whatever the event is, that those people are your direct audience, as much as they possibly can be. They're paying attention to your event. So you absolutely will want to market to them and run ads and all that. So, I mean, I think that's where they're eventually going with it. And it ties into the fact that now, attention wise, it's the bigger conversation about attention, and what gets our attention in the moment is maybe a live event, or definitely live sporting events. Live sports is the only thing that television at this point really has to hang its hat on for selling ad dollars, selling ad time, and making ad dollars. The Super Bowl, don't be surprised. What is it right now? Maybe $4 million for a 30-second spot on the Super Bowl. It's going to be $10 million within 5 years.
Yeah.
Because what else are these companies? This is prime time. It's however many tens of millions of people that are watching this. They're going to pay. They may spend a humongous chunk of their ad budget just on the Super Bowl, on that one 30-second ad, and then build more grassroots and social media campaigns around that idea that happens in the Super Bowl, which, I mean, we've already seen that done a million times. But even more so, I can see it where it's like the percentage of the revenue, the dollars that they spent on the advertising in the game compared to outside of the game is like 90-10, 95-5. It's just there won't be a reason, because the audience on Facebook or social media is so prevalent and paying so much attention, spending so much time on those platforms already, that you can reach them with your content.
Yeah.
And then you're driving them for the awareness and everything that's in the Super Bowl. It's already there. And that's where you're spending $10 million for your 30 seconds of fame, whereas the $10 million might have been spread out over a 6-month period leading up to the game.
Absolutely. Yep. So, I personally, I mean, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to, to all these features, the Facebook.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, I see this even playing into a new feature that Facebook, we'll briefly jump into this actually. Facebook also came out with this is actually more, like a bonus topic, I guess. Facebook also came out with audience optimization as well. And, I see all these things, all these tools kind of playing together, so I'll put that in here for everybody. But basically it's, a link off the Facebook site where they're talking about audience optimization. It's giving you, when you go to post content on Facebook, additional details to be able to go in and say, I want to potentially target people that are interested in this particular thing. When I'm going to post, there's a little target icon. Some people have this, some people may not have it. I've had it since, I think it was announced yesterday, but I've had it, for a few days. So it's a good tool or a good thing to check out, actually. So with that, by the way, do you have anything else you want to share or talk about today? Or, I know we want to get into some tools. Because we, I love tools.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. Very cool. And by the way, so everybody that's watching or if you're catching the replay, there will be a recap blog post for this. It'll go out probably maybe later tonight, early tomorrow morning. So let's get into tool number one. Tool number one is Twitter Flight School.
Just interesting concept for agencies.
What are your thoughts on this? Have you had a chance to play with it or use it or whatnot?
A little bit, not a whole lot. I mean, I'll let you kind of kick off on this one.
I mean, kind of the whole point is, if you're new to Twitter, like the whole point is to kind of get you to learn how to use Twitter properly and whatnot. But it's not just, here's the thing. It's not just for people that, are newbies to Twitter. Everyone that's using Twitter can get more out of it. This previously was a tool that was only available to a very limited audience. And again, like they since have opened this up to other people, basically everybody.
Right.
So a good tool, a very good tool. And, it doesn't cost you anything. So, you can basically sign in with your Twitter account and then you'll get access to Twitter Flight School. And there's a lot of, they've got a lot of modules and whatnot stuff in there. So, I recommend, checking out. I mean, it's, again, like I said, it's a free tool. So, feel free to, to test it out and, see how it actually works for you. So, but, let me actually get the other links up. So the second tool that I have for you, so that's tool number one. Tool number two. Okay, so this is actually a pretty new one. This is an app called Zcast. And here's the thing. So everybody's getting into podcasting.
A lot of blabbers throwing their stuff up on podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher. Yeah,
absolutely. Because again, like when you run a blab, you can record these. You can get an audio version of it. You can get just a video. You can get an embed code to be able to put this on a website. But basically, this is actually a neat approach. I think it's an app that's going to basically let you record a podcast. You do a live podcast, group casting. It's neat though because it ties in. It's almost like Blab, where like with Blab, I log in, through my Twitter account. If I'm using Zcast, it's the same way. I basically log in using my Twitter account, and I'm able to, to talk about a specific topic, basically casting as they would call it. Schedule some cast. It's almost like Blab for podcasting, sort of, except it's just audio.
Which is funny because Blab is you can already use it for podcasting essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not essentially, you can use it. I know, how many people do we know that their podcasts are done, and it's not people that are amateurs. It's people that have been doing shows for a while and using whatever other software and iTunes, and they still do it on iTunes, still do it on Stitcher, maybe even throw it up on SoundCloud, but they use Blab as the podcasting platform. And I mean, I know Blab that's where they're wanting to put a lot of focus as well and draw in a lot of that audience, and they have to an extent with was it World Podcasting Day a couple months back. There was a huge campaign here on Blab for that. They had the whole almost 2 full days of people podcasts being featured, people doing their podcasts on the Blab platform. So for this, I guess I would ask you, Christian, where do you feel the main difference is? Like, why would I use Zcast and not Blab, or vice versa?
I think so. Part of it is, so this is obviously it's on iOS, I think, just right now. Mm-hmm. So I think the key thing is it's another tool. I'm not going to say like, that one's better over the other. I think that this, again, everything is lowering the barrier to entry to where pretty much anyone can get involved with anything these days. I think, when people first go to Blab, I think they're probably, a lot of people don't like to be on camera. First,
right.
I have no problem. I love it. But again,
right.
I've been doing, I've had a YouTube channel for, a number of years. It's
right. It's public. Blab is public. Right. I mean, it's anybody can click the link and watch.
And so here's the thing. Like if I go to Blab and let's just say, I'm initially just going here to begin with, I'm thinking video. I'm not thinking audio, right? I'm not thinking, oh, well, I can create a podcast on this. I don't think most people that use the tools have gotten that far. I think so. They go there and in a way they're a little bit afraid to potentially, get into using the tool. Now, on the flip side, if I'm using Zcast, I think that could, if I want to do, get started with a podcast, that's a great place to start. And I'm not, it doesn't make me, if I don't like video, for instance, like I know it's strictly for audio.
Right.
I think that really is kind of where the difference is.
Well, then let me ask you this. So why would someone use this over one of the more established or traditional platforms that is just for audio? Like I know there's people that use Spreaker. which is audio. Or there's even people that I know, I definitely have heard people that record their show on their phone, on their iPhone, on just the voice recorder, and they have the file. They just email the file themselves, and then they go through that, whatever, Libsys or whatever, and upload the file. So I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out, because is this something, is it just because it's so easy in the app and to pull other people in, and it's all audio?
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I think really that's kind of the key thing is, it's as simple as launching an app. If you don't have a mic, using your onboard mic, even though I always recommend having, an external mic, but people can go on there, they can schedule everything right from the app. They can also then, use social proof and connect with other people as well directly through the app. So it's almost like you have, you're using a smartphone and you have everything you need in your pocket. So, I can literally just start broadcasting directly from this. So that's where I think that, the benefit is using that over some of the other tools. Again, I mean, I think it's about making it easier for people so they don't feel overwhelmed. If I go try to use, some of these other tools that are out there, people might think, well, hey, there's a really steep learning curve to using something. And I think that's really where the other tool, Zcast, can actually be useful. So again, I mean, there's also a lot of overlap these days with most of the tools on the market. If you want Blab versus Zcast, like they're very similar.
Right.
Drop in Spreaker there, for instance, very similar to Zcast, for instance. So I think it really is about trying it and kind of seeing, well, what actually fits best for what it is that you do, because everything's a little bit different, for every user. By the way, welcome, Jennifer. Jennifer, I think we were on a Blab yesterday, weren't we? With my good friend, Mr. Antonio, and I think with what's her name? Jenny Brennan as well. So that's tool number 2, by the way.
Zcast. I just downloaded it. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. I mean, check it out. Let me know what you think. I mean, I think it's, there's so many apps out there. Really want to experiment with some of these and see what's going to work for you. I'm not saying there's one specific tool you should use, but there's a lot out there.
No, yeah, it was definitely in the interest of having the discussion. Look, obviously we are both, and I am a big fan of Blab, but certainly there's a lot of stuff out there that can accomplish similar things, and if that's going to be better for that purpose, why not? So what we got next?
So the last tool we have actually is, okay. So the last tool we have is HubSpot's Keyword Research Academy. And, here's the thing. I picked this tool because a lot of people, they get stuck on like SEO. And, a lot of people, like, SEO really is, it's complicated, but it's not complicated. You can make it, if you're just getting started, I mean, it's really about having focused content, focused topics. And so that's where, like, if I've been doing this for a number of years, I mean, so, you learn things over time, but, if you're just getting started, I mean, it's good to go through, and get a good refresher before you kind of begin, or, if you are someone established, to stop and take stock of what you're doing and how you can go about adjusting that. So what's really neat about this is, again, it's a 5 to 6 hour like academy that they're doing, but they have outlined everything in some really great steps. They've got things about, developing a buyer persona. For example, like if, I may have a business and I may say, hey, I want to rank for all these keywords. This kind of takes the guesswork out of a lot of it, because if I am trying, the biggest problem I think is if I'm a business, any type of business, I want to do everything. And, and you're all over the place to the point where you can't, get any traction because you're just, you're bouncing, from here to here to here. And so I think, this actually in a way is taking you back to some of the basics. Like, for example, developing a buyer persona is important because you may think that you want to write about a certain topic, but you have to know who the audience is you're trying to reach, with your content. And so this tool can definitely help with that. One, it's about, a buyer persona. How do you reach your current customers and prospects? Expanding your keyword list, for example, what keywords people are using to find you, for example. Benefit there is if you find keywords that people are, using to find you, you want to make sure, you have content as well that potentially ranks, higher for that, so that as somebody's doing a search, they will start to, basically jump into that funnel to get to your website. So it's very neat tool. It's a free tool and whatnot. So there's a lot of really good stuff there as well.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's brilliant. It's brilliant on HubSpot's part, because basically it's a lot of the content that they're already putting out there. And a lot of the kind of, if you want to put it in the thought leadership category, certainly. Hey, Eileen, how you doing? It's there. Like, they're already producing this content. What they're doing is creating this hub, which it's HubSpot. They know how to do inbound marketing. And so if you go there, if you're someone that is just kind of starting out, or you're looking to build your knowledge base on these topics, this thing is great. And I mean, as someone that I don't consider myself an SEO expert by any means, I try to learn as much as I can as I go. But, Google Analytics, I use it. I know enough to be dangerous. I know enough to kind of get a good idea about things, but that is not my focus as much as it should be.
Yeah.
It's people that's their only job, right? Is like a digital analyst, and they're just looking at those analytics constantly, and they know the ins and outs. This is something that is super helpful.
Yeah.
And I have nothing to do with HubSpot other than I follow them. I'm not a customer, nothing like that. It's just, it's really good. I mean, it's on point. It's got video, it's got blog posts, it's got different projects you can try. So it's brilliant on their part. I'll be, in all honesty, it's like, if people start using this, if this gets enough traction, it's huge. And then, it's a lead generator for them. These people, once they get going, they learn more and more. They're going to be like, I can see how HubSpot is going to be good for my business.
Yeah.
Let me check out what they do and how much they charge and everything. So
absolutely. And here's the thing, I brought these tools up because, they may not be directly social media marketing tools.
Yeah.
They're tools to help you in your business.
Oh, they're part of it though. They're part of the bigger picture. Like I said, I mean, you do social media marketing. I do social media marketing. I'm gonna look at this now since you brought it to my attention. I'm absolutely gonna bookmark this.
And here's the thing, these are, like I said, just like with Twitter Flight School, for example, give the tool a try, see if it actually can help you, see if there's anything you can actually learn from it or gain from it. You may find that, hey, out of 5 hours of content, you may get, some really good information that's going to help you. You may get information, and say, hey, I knew, 50% of it, but then at the same time, there may be, a couple of things in there that you didn't know about, or maybe there were some algorithm changes, for instance, because, SEO is constantly changing. You kind of have to, stay up on it. So I think it's a, great resource for anyone who's a business. If you've got, if you're putting out blog posts or whatnot, and you're trying to get some traction on your content, make sure you check that out. And, and actually kind of, I'm going to do a little parallel. So speaking of that, by the way, we're talking about SEO content. I wrote an article earlier this week on Facebook Notes for Business. If you had a chance to check it out, but Facebook recently, I think it was a couple, maybe 2 weeks ago or whatnot, they updated Facebook Notes to where you have a new layout. But here's the thing. They updated it, and they're also giving you the ability to have, you can have H1 and H2 tags. And this is where the SEO part kicks in. You can have H1 and H2 tags. The benefit of that is that can help your content get found in search. And if I'm publishing, say, Facebook Notes can be they can show up in search. So, so what I have here basically is, it's basically a guide on, 10 ways to use, Facebook Notes for Business, on some different things that you can do with your content. So say you go through this HubSpot, Academy thing here and learn, some SEO best practices. You can then apply some of those to your Facebook Notes that you might want to publish on your Facebook page. So, I want to make sure I share that with everybody because, one, it'll show you how to set it up, and two, it'll give you there's a bunch of different examples I put together that I think can be very useful for you, business owner, to use Notes if you're not already using it.
But and yeah, let's talk about that real quick, just because the Facebook Notes, I'm gonna keep saying it. If you don't use them, start using them, because I really think Facebook isn't just putting that out there for the heck of it. Facebook Notes, they entirely redesigned it to be very similar to Medium, and even LinkedIn Publisher to a point.
Absolutely.
Very easy, so easy to publish on there. So
and
easy.
It looks really good, I think.
Well, so it works in the sense of creating the content, right, and publishing it.
Yeah.
I don't know yet about the level of who it gets to.
Right.
And if, are people seeing it? Are they reading it? But I think that's coming. Like, I really think that it ties back into the update that they made. I know we went over this before, but it ties back into that update they made late summer about where the algorithm on Facebook is factoring in now time spent on posts and ranking those higher. If you have a blog post in Facebook Notes, it's a post. It shows up in your feed like a post. And if you click on it, I think they're going to count it as a post.
Yep.
And so if you're reading this blog post that is 500, 1,000 words, 12, whatever it ends up being, I don't even know if there's a limit on how long it can be. But if you put a blog post on there that's good, a lot of people follow Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He puts up just regular posts of long form content. Well, if he does a Facebook Note post, is that going to be just huge engagement? And then is that going to draw other people to blog on Facebook in that spot?
That's the play right there, I think, that this is, this reminds me of a few months ago, Facebook did, if you were posting video, for example, directly to Facebook versus posting on YouTube.
Oh, that's still the case, though. That's still, yeah.
So that's what I see happening with this. I think that they're going to end up, doing it where they're going to want, again, they've been making this push. They want people to stay on their site longer. So they're trying to, in a way, like to get you to post more content directly on their site. And I think, from a video perspective, we know what they did there. I see them doing the same thing here with Notes. Notes, they show up just like a post. You get likes, comments, shares, and that sort of stuff. You could run Facebook ads against them as well to promote them. If you go to, I think it's Facebook. Again, this might not work for like Facebook right now, but if you go to facebook.com/notes, you can pull up all of your notes, and you can also pull up notes for all the people that you're friends with. I'm not sure if it's pulling in pages yet. I don't think it actually is, but that's a way for you to go and see all of the notes that that are going on. So, or they're being shared, for people that aren't aware of that. But I mean, I'm going to start using them. Again, I put together, I think, what is a useful article, I think, to help you out. But I think if you're, like you said, if you're not using it, you got to use Notes these days. I think that,
and then they just made it easier to do it. I just noticed this week, when you go to, like, on a page, if you go to do a post, if you go to the offer/event section, now the notes thing is there. Where it wasn't, I don't think it was there right from the start. You still had to go into the More tab, right? Because didn't we look at that?
Yeah, it is still under the More tab. If you don't have it, you do need to add it. So, if you go to the More tab and then go to, I think you and I talked about this. There's a Manage Tabs option. And
yeah. But I mean, even now though, in the update, if you click on the offer/event link, now it's just in there automatically. I don't know if that was from me adding it on there.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. I don't know if because I've already set it up on all my pages. I don't know if
me too.
Once you add it, if that triggers it showing up.
Shows up down.
That's if that's something that is automatically there. But yeah, you can get to it two ways. You can go to the More tab, you can go to Manage Tabs, and then add it there. Alternatively, as you mentioned, and maybe you want to try this first, is to go to Event and Milestone. There's a plus sign, just click it, and it'll say Event, Milestone, and Note. So you may want to go check that out, guys. So so with that, by the way, do you have anything else you want to share today?
No, that was a lot. Just if you can jump on, do the Facebook Sports Stadium experience this weekend. If you can get on that and check it out.
So I know who you're
That's gonna
picking. I know you're picking the Patriots, right?
Well, yeah, of course. I look. I think all four teams
Yeah.
have a shot to win it.
Mhm.
I don't think. Yeah, let's do our predictions real quick. So,
Okay.
I think Patriots win finally in Denver, and I think, man, I think Arizona wins in Carolina. I think both the road teams win, and then it's going to be a nightmare Super Bowl for me, Arizona and New England, since I live in Phoenix and I have friends and family that are Cardinals fans. It's going to be potentially a nightmare.
So I'm going to go with, here's the thing. I'm a Peyton Manning fan. I would like to see him make it back to the Super Bowl and get one last shot at it. I think, the Patriots, I think, are a very, very good team. But, it's kind of how I see like the storyline, hopefully playing out. He gets to the Super Bowl, he gets his, Super Bowl, he wins the Super Bowl, and then he can retire at that point. And on the flip side, I actually see that's going to be a tough one. I would like to see the Arizona Cardinals make it to the Super Bowl. I think, Carson Palmer is, I think Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald, I mean, they're, two great players. I think they kind of, again, you can't say they deserve it because, I mean, again, they do, but, it's a team effort. And so, I would love to see the Cardinals and the Broncos. But, at the same time, you can't fault Carolina. I mean, Carolina's had a tremendous season. So,
right. Unexpected.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, you can't all these teams. I mean, they're all great. I mean, the Patriots, they overcame a lot of obstacles this year. A lot of injuries. To somehow get back to the, almost making it to the Super Bowl now. So, my pick: Broncos and Cardinals. So,
and then in that instance, I'm rooting for the Cardinals.
So with that, guys, we're gonna wrap up this week's episode of Social Chatter. My name is Christian Karasevich. Got Vincent Orlick over here. I'm going to give you guys a link, by the way, to next week's show in case you want to subscribe. And, I do this every week. If you would like to get added to our email list, you can text Social Chatter to 33444. Basically, that'll put you on my list. I send you an email earlier in the day to let you know about the topics that we're going to discuss and also to give you a link to last week's episode and the tools and whatnot. So with that, hope everybody has a great weekend. I'm in Washington, D.C., so we're, expecting apparently a big blizzard.
Yeah, it's not there yet, huh?
It's been snowing off and on, but, not that bad. So I will see everybody on Monday, but, I hope everybody has a great weekend. And as Vincent, as you said, make sure you go check out Facebook Sports Stadium by going to, what is it? You just go to your Facebook
Well, go in the app. Yeah, during the game, I think. Go in the app, and if it doesn't pop up immediately, just search for the game that's on, like Patriots versus Broncos, I think. I mean, we'll see how it works. We'll probably reference it a little bit next show, next Friday. But just look for the game, and then you'll start to see different things happening. Like you said, you saw that button, right? The orange button.
So simple. Just go log into Facebook, a couple minutes before the game. I think they're on Sunday. And see if you have an option that pops up. So with that, have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining.
Later. Thanks, everyone.